To my new training cycle. We are doing a bench only meet. What's up, you guys? James Strickland here. Welcome back to another week of In the Rack with Swimhack. So I'm James Strickland. I'm going to bring you guys my training recaps, my life stories, whatever else I think is interesting at the time. But anyways, if you guys are new to the channel, welcome. I want you guys to go ahead and hit that subscribe button because I'm going to bring you guys some entertaining stuff on a weekly basis going forward. And if you guys are OGs and you've been with me for a while, welcome back. I really do appreciate you guys joining me on my journey to 700-pound bench press to a 2,300 raw pound total and whatever else I want to do. So I got you guys some recaps from this week, some highlights. I want to go ahead and show you guys that right away. So let's go ahead and check it out. All right, so starting off my bench day. My bench day is typically on Mondays. When I get heavier, I might move to Tuesday or Wednesday. So this week I've got 425 for 2 sets of 8 on tap. And kind of working back up with this weight. It feels a little heavy on the first or second rep, then I get into the groove, and then I hit kind of a curve where the last couple of reps are a little bit tougher, but I was happy with that set. Moving on, this is the second set. Just showing you guys a different angle here. Obviously, I like to show you guys my training videos just to show you the progress, but I also want to show you how I get ready for a lift. Right there was Skull Smash Ammonia. It was one of my sponsors. I definitely want to shout out to them. You see that banner in the background, but I use that to get amped up. Obviously, I'm wearing a sweater and pants, which is very not like me, especially in Houston. It's normally pretty warm all throughout the year, but it was cold this day, so I was using that to kind of get amped up. And obviously, didn't have too much of a problem with my sets, so I'm happy with that. Garage doors were closed because it was cold and I didn't want the wind blowing in. This is a couple days later. Had some overhead press on my upper day with some accessory work upper. 315 for 2 just to kind of wake everything up. And I'm going to show you guys the other view here. Obviously, we've got a beautiful day in the background, so it just shows you what the weather does in Houston. From one day to the next, it's kind of awkward, but I would much rather it be this than 30, 40 degrees for the whole winter. So show you guys this so you don't think all my lifts look too pretty. My eyes popping out of my head. And this is really what the main working set was for the day. This is a couple sets of 225 for 10. And this actually felt a lot better than I thought it would. 10 reps right now, 8 reps right now, feels like cardio. But working through it, shoulders are staying healthy, which is the name of the game. This was actually the same day. Obviously, you can see I'm wearing the same shirt. This is one of the other accessories that I do. I'm not showing you all my accessories in my training right now, at least not every single recap, but some of the highlights. And so this is got a few sets with the 150-pound dumbbells here, 15 reps. This is actually the heaviest dumbbell I can find that is comfortable to set up on my legs. They do have 160s at this gym, but for the added benefit of 10 pounds per dumbbell and having my legs bruised up from the bolts that stick out of the ends just wasn't worth it to me. I just throw an extra set in here, and we're just working on speed reps. This is working the stabilizers. I have my feet up to work on balance so that when I do have my feet down, it just works that much better. So nothing super specific about that. All right, so this is, I am adding in my following week as well, just to show you guys progression. Like I said, I don't want to show my full training recap. And actually that, I believe, was an incorrect title there. This should be 440. So the 25s here make it 425. I've got a 10 and a 5, a 5 and a 2.5, which is 15 per side, bringing it up to 440. I mistitled that, so I apologize. So this is the following week. Obviously, I got the door open, the lights are on, the sunlight's shining in. So let's see how this looks. This is, oh, I'm sorry, I did title it right. Maybe I just, my editing skills are not the best right now. I'll stick to bench press. So I'm pretty happy with that. What I'm doing is pausing each rep and getting my rest somewhat at the bottom and really working on not sticking around at the top too long to save energy. So staying tight, having to reset my legs a little bit just because as I drive, it really does shift me out of position. So I want to make sure I'm in good position before the next rep. I'm going to show you guys a top view, pretty unique here in the rack with Swimhack series. So you can expect more of this. This is kind of for technique. It's not quite even. You can see the bar obviously looks like it's bending a little bit. That's not quite accurate. But I want to show you guys where I hit on my chest, how I drive, how I talk to myself. You'll see in a second. But that is going to be it for this week's recaps. But you know, I just want to give you guys some insight to what I do training-wise, especially if you guys are new to the channel. All right, you guys. So I'm feeling really, really good. I'm about 4 weeks into my new training cycle. We are doing a bench-only meet. I'm not sure when, but I'm going to probably estimate, and this is a pure estimate, probably around March, April, I'm thinking, because I really want to build up a solid base, but there's going to be a point to where it's time to start peaking again. I've taken about 15, 16 weeks off prior to this particular training cycle, so my body feels good. I don't have any aches and pains. I feel rested. I feel recovered. I feel like I can really, really push and not hurt anything, and that's the key. And that's something I want you guys, that if you're new to the channel, obviously you don't know this about me, but I really, really stress training smart, eating smart, definitely taking care of your body and making sure that you live to fight another day. I didn't get to where I'm at with a 672 raw bench by just taking chances and doing stupid stuff in my training. Now, there are occasions when you're going to get hurt, you're going to get injured, but it's how you handle that stuff that really determines who you are as a person, honestly, and how you're going to end up as a lifter. Are you going to be washed out because of an injury that could have been prevented, or are you going to be able to come and live to fight another day and go after that goal time and time again? So I hope it's the latter, and you guys are smart in your training, and you're not ego lifting and doing anything like that. But definitely excited about this training block. Everything keeps getting progressively heavier, as you can see. We probably got, I would say, about 455 pounds. For me, that doesn't sound like a lot. I know for a lot of you guys, that might sound like a huge number, but obviously it's all relative. But 455 for a set of 8, and then we'll probably move on. I'd like to see if I can get a PR this training cycle with a set of 8. That would be north of 500. So 505, 510, whatever for a set of 8 before we move on to 6s. But it's not the end of the world if my training gets to the point to where 8s just feel like cardio, which they do right now. But there's a point when there's kind of a point of where the benefit outweighs, or the risk outweighs the benefit. And I don't want to get to that point, but if my body is telling me, hey, let's go ahead and do this, and it works out well, I like to build my training cycle up like a pyramid, so that's what we're going to do. But whenever my body basically says, hey, that's enough 8s, it's time to go to 6s, I will go ahead and go that route, and we'll move on and get up into some triples and doubles and singles, and then we'll have a meet. But definitely excited about that. But I do have some really, really good stuff to bring you guys. I do have a winner for my contest that I did last week, and I'm going to do another one this week. So if you guys have questions, comments, leave them down below. For one, you'll be entered into a chance to win an 8-week program of your choice on my website, benchonly.com. I do have a winner from last week's video. I'm going to announce them here in just a second, but I'm going to go into my Q&As. I have 2 questions from last week that I want to go ahead and answer right here. So the first one is from Joseph R. And he said, what are some exercises to increase deadlift? So there are obviously some main exercises that I like to utilize to increase deadlift. And there's some that some people will use that I maybe will not use during a training cycle for whatever reason or another. So it's just like with any accessory. You got to know what your weakness is. And if your weakness is exposed, then you can work on it. If you have no idea where your weakness is, you're just kind of flying by the seat of your pants. You're not going to improve any at all unless it's just by chance. So what I would do is, like for me, is I know that my hamstrings are actually the weaker muscle group in my legs than like my quads. And so what I need to do in order to increase my particular deadlift is I have to do a lot of hamstring work. Now, my hamstrings don't like a lot of work, and I have to be very careful with them because they like to cramp up, and there's a lot of things that I have to kind of just be particular about. So what I end up doing is I have to train them in a certain rep range, and typically it's like 8 to 10 for me before they start cramping. And I definitely don't want to push it too far because then it goes past the point to where it's actually benefiting them and it hurts. So what I end up doing is either stiff bar deadlifts, banded deadlifts, banded where I'm not doing the bar and I'm actually just using bands and just doing body weight deadlifts with the band. I do leg curls to where I'm actually curling. There's standing leg curls, which I prefer the lying, but as long as you're hitting whatever muscle group that is the weak spot on you, then that's going to make you stronger in that particular weakness. And that, in fact, will make your lift stronger. Now, that's a pretty simplified explanation. Obviously, you got to work on technique and form and some other things. But just to answer that question with a pretty broad answer, when I'm hoping that hit right on the head, is you want to focus on whatever you're particularly weak at. The other thing is you don't want to neglect your quads, let's say if you're working on your hamstrings, but you want to put whatever your weak muscle group is at the forefront of your training. Not necessarily overtrain them, but basically take that muscle, like for example, quads. If I'm going to train quads, let's say 4 sets for a week, I will train hamstrings for 6 sets that week. If I'm weak in my quads versus my hamstrings, I might do 6 sets on quads of some exercise or multiple exercises, and then maybe 4 sets on hamstrings. And it could be 10 sets versus 8 sets. It just depends on how you work and what your volume workload is. And you're gonna have to figure that out for yourself because everybody's different. But for me, I know it's about 4 sets or so per muscle group on average on every accessory that I do in any given exercise. And then the ones that are weaker, so if I'm working on my pecs versus triceps or back, then I will throw in an extra couple of sets compared to the stronger muscle group. So I hope that answered your question. Thanks, Joseph, for that one. All right, so next up we have got Andrew F. He asks, what do you do for a living? So I like this question because a lot of guys, a lot of people look at me and they basically say, you look like you're a trainer, you look like, you're a bouncer, football player, athlete, and that's all great. I love that. But I was a swimmer for a long time, so I was a lot sleeker and more slender. I've always been pretty athletic, but I have, for as long as I can remember, I have owned a website design company. So I actually focus on helping companies, big and small. I've got very, very large companies that you guys would know. I also have very small companies that are mom and pop shops that just want to start up a small business and sell trinkets on the website. So I will help them start a website, create it, design it. My passion, though, is programming and actually making websites do cool stuff. And that is, online stores, databases, membership-driven websites, custom bank websites. I'm working on a really cool one right now that I can't tell you guys about, but it's basically fitness related, and it's going to be a very cool, state-of-the-art, we'll just say fitness website. I can't get too much more specific than that, but it's a pretty big deal. It'll be worldwide. We're doing a lot of marketing on it. It's going to be probably the next big thing. At least that's the goal. So I like to work on small projects. I like to work on big projects. And I also do a lot of promotion with websites. So anytime that a site is looking to show up or a company's looking to show up when somebody's doing a search online through Google and Yahoo, the search engines, there's a whole set of rules and set of protocols that we use with the search engines to basically, I would say, manipulate, if you will, to where that site shows up and they can actually be in front of their competition. And it's money in the pocket, basically, for the businesses that I work for. And that's an ongoing thing. But that's kind of a gist of what I do. I've been doing this since 2003. I started my own company. I'll put a link down below if you guys are interested in checking out some of my work and what I do. If you guys have a business and you're looking for any type of help, I'd be happy to help you or talk to you at least to see if I can, if there's a fit. But I've been doing this for longer than anything. And my wife stays at home. You know, we've afforded a lot of nice things in life, so I really feel blessed that I have a successful business and I can do what I do. I ultimately started this business so that I could swim for two training sessions in a day. Now it allows me to do whatever sport I want to do, and I happen to choose powerlifting. So I am allowed, you know, myself to get some time in my workday or night or whenever I want, because I make my own schedule, which is really, really nice. I can actually train when I want, which has definitely allowed me to be very successful at what I do and kind of control when I can sleep, when I can eat, when I do what I need to do, versus having to have, you know, somebody to answer to and actually show up at a particular work site all the time. So definitely blessed that I have my own setup here, but that's what I do for a living. Obviously I do have training that I do. I am a coach now, so I do coach a select few lifters that have reached out, and I definitely, you know, can see eye to eye with them and what their goals are. I do from time to time have spots that open up as far as online coaching for my powerlifting and strength coaching. I have a few weight loss clients that is working pretty well. But you know, if you guys are interested in that, definitely, you know, reach out to me at bencholly.com. If I can, you know, help you out, I will. But I have an exciting announcement that I mentioned earlier. So if you guys go ahead and comment or leave a question for me down below, I'm going to select a random winner, just like I did for this time from last week, to get an 8-week program of your choice. It could be the 8-week bench program, it could be the 8-week full power program, it can be a hypertrophy program, the strength program, the peak program. So it's your call, but it's an 8-week program. It's like $19 to $39 is about the value that you're getting. But I'll be happy to just go ahead and send it to you once you win. But last week's winner is, and I hope I'm saying this last name right, and forgive me if I don't, it's Tom Frisbee. So I'm going to comment on your comment with, you know, just having you email me your information. I want to make sure that it's you that I'm giving this program to and that you can use it. But you can definitely gift it to somebody else if you don't need it, or if you have one of my programs already and it's not going to be a benefit for you to have two programs. If you want to give it to somebody, I'll get with you to figure out how we can get it to that person. Maybe that's somebody that maybe you just want to, you know, gift it to somebody that's less fortunate, that can't afford a program. Then that's cool. I definitely can get on board with that. But that is it for the Q&A section of this particular recap video. So if you guys have your own questions for me, I'd love to go through and answer them for you right here on YouTube, and hopefully I can help you out in some way or another. But I'm going to wrap this video up with some of the highlights from the kind of the how-to, if you will, of the making of the Deep End 2.0. So last week I showed you guys what I did, the tour of the gym, but then there's some specifics that I wanted to go through with you guys. And a lot of you have been asking me through various forms of communication what I did to actually fix the problems that I was having with the gym floor, maybe the lighting that I was using, the equipment that I used, things like that. So let's go ahead and check this video out. I'm going to do a little voiceover and show you guys, you know, kind of what I'm doing, explain it, and then I'll come back and wrap up this video. So let's check it out. Swimhack's Deep End 2.0, kind of the how-to series. I want to show you guys a little bit of the behind the scenes. Obviously, the gym is not 100% right now, but basically just wanted to show you guys how I got to the point that it is now, and then as I add on things, I can show you guys how I'm doing it. But specifically to address an issue that was brought up in a previous recap video, the last video, which was pec strain was caused back about 4 or 5 months ago, and it was due to the fact that my garage floor is sloped about 3 to 4 inches, or the other gym floor, garage floor, was sloped about 3 inches for the length of the garage. Now this particular garage here, I'll show you this photo, is, you can see towards the front of the garage, I guess right in this area where the broom and ladder is, there's maybe about a 3-inch height between the garage floor and the top of this concrete here. Now on the side over here, it gets progressively taller because the garage gym floor is actually sloping. Knowing this from the previous garage, I wanted to fix this, and I looked at several different methods. One was like epoxy. Another one was actually putting new concrete down and leveling it out. I looked at a lot of different stuff, and honestly, most of it was just very, very expensive. I didn't want something that was permanent either. I wanted to be able to change it out if I wanted to ever repurpose the gym in any way. And so what I opted to do was actually use plywood and 2x4s and a little bit of mixture of things because I'm pretty good at woodworking. So I want to go ahead and just use that. So I'm just kind of going backwards. This is my old home and just kind of showing you guys this part of the equipment. Obviously, it's not all of it, but this is the Ghost Rack, and this bad boy weighs quite a bit. I want to say this thing weighs about 650, and so obviously I kept the pallet that it was delivered on, and we actually had it brought over to the new house on a pallet and a pallet jack. I had to figure all that out and get it up there so it was easier to pull up the driveway, because this thing you don't want to pick up even with a few people. It's just really, really awkward. Got it up there on the pallet jack. Got some help here to move it. But this is it in the new house. So you can see obviously the floor. What I ended up doing, this is just temporary stall mats that I have down to kind of get the measurements that I'm going to need. Obviously you see some plywood over here. I've got the weight rack here. And you can see the bench is set up, kind of getting a feel for my dimensions. Obviously the walls are all bare and there's no lighting in here. So this is kind of before and after I'm going to show you guys. But here is me with a little grin on my face, coming back from a Tractor Supply in the area to get some additional stall mats to fill out the flooring. Felt like this was the best option, best bang for my buck, and for what I needed it for. In my gym, I thought this would be the best way. Plus, I could cut it down to size. Here is me just getting some wood, some lumber at the hardware store. This is 1x1, and I'll show you here in a minute how I use this. I ended up actually getting some 2x4s as well, and just kind of showing you guys the progression. So here is obviously a little bit more progression. I've got the stall mat set up here. You can see over here in the corner by my daughter's hoverboard here, there's about a 5.5 inch, 6 inch height difference here versus over here in this area. And that is the slope of the garage. So what I basically did was, I know that I'm going to be working with 8-foot sections of lumber. My squat rack platform and deadlift platform is 8 feet by 8 feet. So that worked out perfect. The distance between the squat rack's edge right here and the garage was about 7'9". So it was about 3 inches short of another 8-foot span. So I just did some simple math and just figured I'd measure from this corner up here on the wall to this corner on the wall, and it was about 1.5 inches or so per 8 feet. So what I did is just said, okay, I'm going to lay plywood down, and I know that this is not level because there's obviously a slope. And I took 1x1s and I cut them like this on a table saw. I basically made a little jig for it, and if you guys are interested, I can kind of show you, but it's really not that difficult to kind of figure out some angles. And basically just made a wedge, a long 8-foot wedge out of 1x1. I did the exact same thing with 2x4s later on for the edge. You can see here, if you just take note how this looks right here. I'm going to show you a picture later that you'll see the difference in how much this wedge flooring actually levels out this garage. It's hard to see, you know, what's going on here, but it caused me an injury, and I don't want to ever have it happen again. And if you guys can prevent this by doing something like this in your own gym, then so be it. So basically, I'm just trying to do some even spacing. There's no rhyme or reason to this scientifically, if you will, but I know where I put my feet when I'm squatting. So I wanted to basically put the 2x2s. I keep saying 1x1, 2x2s, about where my feet are, a little bit closer together, and then where the deadlift bar is actually going to hit. So, or not deadlift bar, but when I'm doing deadlifts, it's going to hit this area and it's going to hit in this area. So I wanted a little more concentration of stability here so that it's not breaking the actual platform. We'll see how it holds up. I'm going to end up with 3 layers of stall mat above this plywood. So it should absorb most of that. But the good thing is it's cheap to replace. Now, obviously, it's a lot of hard work to move all the equipment out of the way, but if I ever need to replace this, it's just wood. So basically measuring it out, I had to do about 20 of these for a 12-foot section or so for just this section. And the next section is 2x4s that I had to do about the same number. This is kind of another shot of it. So all this plywood is actually the base of my squat rack and deadlift platform. Here it is. And so it's not the prettiest thing in the world. I mean, it's obviously not perfect, but it works very well for me, and you'll see obviously the finished product. And if you guys have seen the previous video, you saw the final product, and I think it worked out pretty well. I've still got some work to do on it, but so you can see here the edges. So here is the difference before I actually continued on the platform on the sides. I decided to go ahead and level this out as well and level this out so that I could have a full non-stop slope, or I'm sorry, leveled floor versus a slope. And it's hard to tell, even this bench here is actually on a slope by a big amount. The bar on this side, if you had plates, would be 1.5 to 2 inches higher than this side. And that doesn't look like a lot, but that could be catastrophic in your lift. So I wanted to show you guys, this is, I'm going to touch on this in a minute, but this is the lighting that I installed, and this is actually sponsored by Barrina lights. I want to give a shout out to them. I'll put a link down below. They sent me the lighting to take care of the garage and the gym. I think it looks great. Obviously, watching the recaps, you'll see the difference in the set itself. The lighting is very fluid. It looks good. It's great for rainy days. It's great for when I need to close the garage door. I still feel like I'm outside. So this just really, really brightens up the gym, makes me feel energetic. And of course, I think it makes the neighbors a little jealous because when I open the garage, it lights up the whole street. And it really is like a beacon in the night. But maybe they're not jealous. Maybe they're mad that I'm working out in the garage. I don't know. I try to not be obnoxious. But here is the inside view, obviously. It's the finished view for the most part. It's not 100% finished, but I think it's definitely workable. You can see some of the lighting in here. Show you guys this other angle here. This is the really important angle I want to show you guys. So this is 3 layers of, there's 2 layers of stall mat, and I've got some layers of plywood here and 2x4 as an edge. On the inside of this is 2x4s that run this way that are cut in a wedge pattern. So this was the area that you saw earlier that is about a 1.5 inch gap there, and it's the exact same over here. So I just left a little edge because I'm going to put some baseboard in here and just kind of make it look nice. But this is what it looks like from the outside. So this is the difference between how much of a slope between where the bench is over here by the door and this. That's quite significant. So just something for you guys to think about when you're doing your garage gyms. Most garages, if not all, are going to have some sort of slope just because it's code for most builders just to have runoff and to have drainage for your vehicles, flooding, things like that. I'm not sure of all the details, but I know it makes sense, but it doesn't make sense when you're trying to build a gym in your garage and you need to have an equal platform. Now, a lot of people have said, well, you could just turn everything sideways, which is pretty correct. I could definitely squat at an angle to some degree, but it's not platform. It's not similar to what I would be on the platform. It's definitely not advantageous to have the bench turn that way as well, because now I lose some space. So I made it happen the way I wanted it to look. It's definitely, if you don't have, a few $100s to spend on wood, then it's better than nothing to just turn your equipment to where either your head is lower than your feet, if you will, not lower, but lower than it would be, or you're more of an inclined position on bench or squat. So, it's up to you, personal preference, but in my sense, I wanted to make it like this. But, I really hope that this helped you guys basically get some ideas for what you can do in your own gym or own garage gym. Another shout out here. This is the lighting for the garage. It's basically I've got a total of 12 8-foot 500 Kelvin LED lights, and it absolutely, this is just 4 of them in the gym side. It absolutely lights up the gym, lights up the whole garage to even everything out. Plus I like to do a lot of woodworking and stuff. I went ahead and put another 8 on the other side of the garage where the car is parked. But this is actually just kind of, it doesn't do it any justice, but it's hooked up to the light switch, so it works out really well. That's a little close-up shot. Basically, just I had an electrician come out and run these wires up into some junction boxes in the attic, so it had a real clean, professional look versus wires hanging around. If you guys have seen any of the workout videos from a few weeks back, you probably saw some of the extension cords hanging from the roof, things like that. But this is definitely a lot better than I had at the last house. It's definitely a lot better than I've had in the past. So I'm very blessed to have this setup. I definitely, have some ideas to take it even further and share with you guys my training. But, if you guys are looking for some gym lighting or honestly, any lighting for your home, Barrina lights, I'll put a link down below. I'll actually just link to the Amazon page that you can actually see this particular setup that I have. I want to say that like 6 of these lights, 6 8-foot sections is like $100 and something on Amazon. So it's actually really, really cheap for what you're getting. And honestly, you could probably share that with a buddy of yours and get by with maybe 3 each in your garages, and they light up everything. So I think they did a wonderful job. Thank you guys at Barrina Lights for sending me these lights, taking care of me. Definitely will use them for other lighting needs around the house and things like that. All right, you guys, so I hope you like that. I'll definitely do those when I can. It obviously takes a little bit of energy to remember, and kind of project that I want to show you guys this kind of stuff, other than just kind of storing it on my phone and not really having it. This time I definitely wanted to share it with you guys. Take some pictures along the way and have some progress. It's a little bit easier than doing video, just because typically I don't have anybody around to shoot that video for me, so it's kind of awkward to do that, but I can do photos and kind of voiceover, and I hope that is a nice presentation for you guys. You understood it. If you have any questions about that, definitely let me know. Shoot me an email about anything you need to know in any of the recaps or any questions that you have, swimhack@gmail.com. You can definitely find me on Instagram. If you're not already over there and you're following me, get over there, get an account, and give me a follow @Swimhack. I post a lot of daily videos, a lot of what I'm eating, a lot of family stuff, just cool stuff that is kind of an inside look into, the life of James Strickland, however interesting that is. Also, if you guys don't follow my wife, follow Miss Swimhack. I'll put a link down below as well and show it up on the screen. But that's my wife. She posts a lot of funny stuff, some obnoxious stuff, some behind the scenes footage, pictures of me sleeping, TikTok videos of filters and things like that. So you guys can see more of a humorous side of things. But she definitely is my biggest supporter. So shout out to my wife, Georgia. I love you, babe. And I really appreciate everything you do for me and how you make fun of me and keep me going. But that is going to wrap it up for this week. I really appreciate you guys all tuning in. I love the support. I love you guys reaching out, talking to me, giving me, your stories, telling me how you're doing in your own training. I definitely want to help you out any way I can. I'm an open book, so if you have any questions for me, as long as they're appropriate, go ahead and ask me. I will definitely help you out any way I can, and I may even answer them right here on YouTube. But I'm gonna get back. I'm gonna get ready to get this training session on. I have got like 455 for 8, and I've got some stuff like that. I might be showing you my squat videos, my deadlift videos as they get heavier. Nothing real special right now, but I want to show you guys the bench progression because it is a bench only cycle, and I want to show you guys that it's not always about benching 600 for reps. It's always how you progress on the off season through the strength phase of the season and what happens that actually translates over into the peaking phase. So if you guys follow this journey, you'll see how I'm going to progress and how it's going to get progressively heavier, how I'm dealing with adversity, how I'm dealing with life stresses. You'll hear about everything that's going on, and for the most part about my training, my life, the ups, the downs, because you guys have that same exact thing in your life, and I don't want you guys to get discouraged. If I could be a beacon of hope for you guys in your own training, in your own life, then I think I'm serving a good purpose. But thank you guys again, and I will see you guys next week. Peace.